Yes, can I help you?
I'm looking for Ada Desmond.
Well, I'm Ada Desmond. Ada Thaxton now.
You don't recognize me, do you, little Ada?
Daddy. It can't be. Daddy. Is it really you? I can't believe it. I must be dreaming.
It's true, Ada.
But they told me you were dead.
In a way, I was. But I just recently learned who I really am. And you didn't even recognize me.
Oh, only for a moment, and then I knew. Oh, come on, let me take your coat and hat. They're not even wet. I thought it was really storming out.
A taxi brought me right to the door. It's all right, my dear. I should have written it down. But I thought that you'd be more alarmed by my appearing here.
No, I'm not alarmed. I just don't know what to think. I don't know what to say or what to ask. Mama went to France for your funeral.
I didn't have a funeral.
She told me that you died in a fire on the boat. And she never mentioned you again.
Oh, there were many who did die in that fire. But I was rescued by a fishing boat. The nurses told me.
You were alive all this time, and Mama didn't know it. Why didn't you come back to us?
If I'd known where to come, I never would have left you alone.
I always said that you were dead. I knew you'd come back to us, and here you are. How did you find me?
A doctor in San Francisco treated me for almost 5 years. One by one, the doors to my memory opened. My name, where I came from, finally your name. That's all I wanted, to see you again before I die.
Oh, don't say that. I'm going to really start crying in a moment. Miss Cole and embarrass both of us. Let's go inside, because it's warm in there. There's a fire. Do you know, now that you're back, I'm never going to let you go again. Emily, the most unbelievable thing has happened. I can hardly believe it. I'd like you to meet my father.
My name is Julian Desmond.
And this is Emily Blair. Your father? I thought he was...
It's all right, my dear. Don't be afraid to say it. I'm not a ghost coming from the past. Ada will explain it all to you.
Yes, indeed, I will. Miss Blair here is going to marry Jean-Paul. She's going to be a Desmond, too.
Jean-Paul?
Oh, yes. Uncle Armand's son. You remember, the eldest one.
Oh, yes. He was just a little boy when I sailed for France. Times change, but this room hasn't changed very much.
Well, you know this house, then?
Not very well. Armand and I weren't very friendly. Desmond men don't get on with their brothers. Although I must say I preferred Armand to Benjamin.
Oh, he was your brother, too.
I'm sure your husband will be the exception to the rule. He does have a brother, doesn't he, as I recall?
He did have, but he's died. Daddy, would you like anything to eat?
No, I stopped at Desmond's and had something at the inn.
To think that you're really here. Desmond. Court! I must find Court.
And who is Court?
Court is your grandson, my son.
My grandson?
Yes.
What a surprise.
Well, you stay here now and talk to Emily. I'm going to go up and get him. He'll be just as surprised as I am.
Ada, listen, let me go get him. You stay here with your father.
Oh.
She's a very attractive young girl.
Yes, and she's charming, too. We're very happy for Jean-Paul.
Desmond men always marry handsome girls. Your mother was the prettiest of them all.
Poor Mama.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to distress you.
You know, Mama was a completely different person after you disappeared. She became very bitter, very remote. She sent me away to school, and I hardly ever saw her. And then she died.
Oh, I wish I could have prevented it.
Oh, there was no way you could have, Daddy. I'm gonna have to stop calling you Daddy. I sound like a little girl.
You were a very nice little girl. And it's been a long time since anybody called me Daddy.
Jean-Paul? Oh, Philip, the most amazing thing just happened. Ada's father is downstairs.
What did you say?
Julian Desmond is downstairs.
But he's dead.
No, he's not. He just knocked and walked in. Ada's like a little girl. I've never seen her so happy.
Where's he been all these years?
I don't know. Oh, I'm sure Ada will tell us. Oh, she wants Court to come down and meet his grandfather.
But he can't do that. Well, Jean-Paul's just taken him to the tower room.
What are we going to tell her?
I don't know.
That he should come tonight of all nights.
I wonder.
Earlier this evening, you said you expected a stranger.
Well, Arendo promised he would send an emissary and that we must trust him no matter what he seemed like. Are you sure this is Ada's father?
Oh, Ada recognized him.
No, well, perhaps it is just a coincidence.
Well, how do you mean, a coincidence?
Well, I thought perhaps that he'd been sent to us.
Now, you're going to have some of this, Daddy, because it'll warm you up after that dreadful storm outside. Here you go.
Who is this charming young girl? Don't tell me I have a granddaughter as well as a grandson.
You were right, my dear. He did come back.
Who came back?
My father. You said he would, don't you remember? You said he wasn't dead after all.
That man in there is not your father.
Oh, but he is. Come, I want to introduce you to each other.
No, I tell you, he's not your father. I know that man in there.
Then who is he?
I don't know. But he's not who he says he is.
Now, do you think that I wouldn't know my own father? You're mistaken, that's all. Come on in and meet him, and you'll see for yourself.
No, I'd rather not, please.
I couldn't help but overhear some of the conversation you had with the girl. Who is she?
Oh, she's been staying here with us.
I suppose I'll have to get used to the manners of the young. But it's not going to be easy.
She's really a very nice girl, but she does have some odd ideas. She doesn't believe you're my father at all.
Who does she think I am?
She thinks she's met you before somewhere. It's not very likely.
She may have known me somewhere. Perhaps she was a patient with me once.
A patient?
Yes, my dear. Much of my life has been spent in hospitals, being treated by doctors of all kinds, trying to discover my identity.
Do you think maybe Susan met you in one of these places?
Susan?
That's her name.
Susan what?
I don't really know. She's never told us.
Well, perhaps, like me, she's in search of her identity, too.
Philip? Philip, there's a man in the drawing room.
I know. Ada's father.
He's not what he says he is.
What do you mean?
I've seen him before. Under peculiar circumstances, a long time ago.
Did he recognize you, too?
I think so. He looked at me as if he did.
And what did he say to you?
Nothing. I didn't talk to him. I just came right back up the stairs.
Well, you can't be certain that you've known him if you won't talk to him.
I don't want to talk to him.
If you want to know who it is, you have to.
He's a wicked man. He's come here for no good purpose.
Oh, Emily, have you seen Court?
No, I'm afraid he isn't in his room.
Oh, he's probably with John Paul.
No, I looked in Jean-Paul's room, too. They're not there.
Oh, don't concern yourself, my dear.
Oh, but
Young people have their own lives.
I want him to meet you.
I'll be here when he comes in.
Well, I'm going to look for him myself, then. You stay here with my father. Get acquainted with him. After all, he's one of the Desmonds that you've been most curious about.
And why are you so curious about me, may I ask?
Oh, I originally came here to write a book about the Desmond family.
Well, I hope you find us interesting.
Well, I have, as a matter of fact, although there are many, well, I guess mysteries is the only word for it.
What kind of mysteries, my dear?
Sudden disappearances and deaths, things like that.
And, you hope to solve these mysteries?
No, I hope to understand them, since I'm going to be marrying into the family.
And I am one of the mysteries you want to understand?
One of the many. Your brother, Benjamin, is another one.
Ah, Benjamin. He was mysterious even before he died.
A thing not uncommon amongst the Desmond men.
And that doesn't discourage you from marrying into the family?
Oh, Jean-Paul is not mysterious. He's one of the most open men I've ever met.
I admire your courage.
It's not courage. It's love.
I tried to persuade my wife not to marry me, even though I loved her.
Perhaps you didn't love her enough.
I almost wished I never loved her at all. I brought her great happiness when I was with her, and even greater misery after I left.
I know. Ada told me.
We are at the mercy of our fates, we Desmonds. We require strong women to share our lives. Are you strong? Strong enough to marry a Desmond?
All night long, you've been hiding something from me.
No, we haven't. You must believe me.
Well, then where is Court?
Well, Jean-Paul took him out.
When?
Well, right after dinner when he came upstairs.
I didn't hear them go out. I can't remember when they went.
Well, I can't tell you.
My father has returned here unexpectedly after being away for years. And his only grandchild isn't here.
Well, we didn't know he was coming.
And Jean-Paul, can't you find them for me?
Well, they'll be back soon. Now, why don't we just go on downstairs and wait for them, eh?
You haven't answered my question. Are you sure you're strong enough to marry a Desmond?
I've read all the family histories. I know all the Desmond secrets.
The most important secrets don't find their way into books.
I have been told by others not to marry Jean-Paul. But I'm going to go ahead and marry him anyway.
Who told you not to?
Your grandson, for one. Raxel, for another.
Raxel? Who's that?
She's Jean-Paul's servant.
Do you think it wise to marry in the face of such advice?
I'm not afraid.
Neither was I at your age. My dear, the younger never listen to their elders. I challenge faith blithely, too, as you do. But fate punished me, as it will punish you.
Did you come here just to warn me not to marry Jean-Paul?
I came here to find my daughter, and to pick up the few remaining strands of a life that's nearly run its course. I want my relations to benefit by what I've learned in over 60 painful years of being a Desmond.
Well, I'm not going to be frightened by someone else's memories.
Perhaps you're right. Why should an intelligent young woman be frightened by the haphazard recollections of an old man? Ah, Jacques Mauvier, we haven't seen each other for many, many years. And here we are together again.
My son, he must have gone out without telling me. And so has Jean-Paul, and I don't know when they'll be back.
It doesn't matter. I've got all the time in the world. There's a great deal that you and I haven't told each other. Where's your husband?
Oh, Laszlo is working late tonight at the office.
Oh, what does he do?
He manages the Desmond Mills.
I see. Well, come sit down and talk all about him.
No, Philip will be down in just a minute.
Philip?
Philip Desmond, a cousin of ours from Canada. Oh, I almost forgot. Excuse me. I have to prepare your room.
Oh, just put me anywhere. It doesn't matter.
Oh. It does matter. To me.
Ada's so excited she forgot to introduce me. I'm Philip Desmond.
Oh, I'm Ada's father, Julian Desmond.
Emily told me about you.
Oh, Emily. That's the young girl your brother's going to marry.
No, Jean-Paul isn't my brother. He's my cousin.
Oh, well, I thought Armand's youngest boy was named Philip.
Yes, he was. But we have the same name.
What happened to him?
Well, Philip died some months before I came here.
I see. Well, which Desmond is your father? Surely it couldn't be Benjamin.
No, I don't think you'd know my father. We're a branch of the family that settled in the north.
Oh, then your grandfather married...
Yes, an Indian girl.
Yes, I remember. I've had occasion to know a number of Indians in my many travels. And I venture to say with all modesty that we have a certain empathy. I hope I didn't say anything to offend you.
No, it's just, I'm surprised. We all thought that you were dead.
The Desmonds are a sturdy lot. We survive in spite of adversity. I hope we'll be friends.
I hope so, too.
I'm an old man and I tire easily. So if you'll be good enough to excuse me, I go upstairs to the room Ada's preparing for me. Good night.
I don't understand you, Susan. You were rude to my father.
I didn't mean to be. Something just came over me. I apologize.
But you even said he wasn't my father.
Mrs. Saxon, please. I know what I said was unforgivable. Can you just forget I ever said it?
Well, why would you say a thing like that?
He just reminded me of someone I once knew, that's all.
He thought he might have met you before.
Oh, did he say that?
Well, he said he may have run across you at some of the hospitals or private clinics. He's been ill in the recent years.
You mean a mental hospital?
Well, after all, we do hardly know you.
Well, I've never been in a place like that before.
Oh, now, don't you be angry with me. The day has been full of unexpected surprises, and I hardly know what I'm saying. Do forgive me.
Isn't Jean-Paul back yet?
Oh, he must have decided to stay with Court for a while.
Well, I think you better go get them.
Well, will you be all right alone?
I have the totem.
Have you spoken to Julian Desmond?
Only briefly.
You sound annoyed.
Oh, it gets tiresome to be told over and over again, even by strangers, that I shouldn't marry into the Desmond family.
Is that what he said?
Well, we came up with the usual tales of death and disappearance, and he told me I needed more strength than most women have.
You don't like him, do you?
No, I suppose I don't.
He seems to know about my family, too. No, he may not be what he seems to be.
Well, why would he pretend to be Ada's father if he isn't?
Well, you go to your room, lock your door, and don't let anyone in. I'll go and get Jean-Paul in Court. Can I go, sir? face of Orendo, answer me. Is this your emissary sent among us? Is this your ancient chieftain come to help us? Answer me, Orendo.
Tonight, young lady.